Hi, I'm going to go through the 2020 AP testing guide with you. Here is a summary of the resources for the 2020 test. This is also available at cb.org/AP2020. You get the testing guide, an exam day checklist, the required documents that you should have available to you, the testing demo, when it will be available, and how to troubleshoot, information about the AP World Language and Culture exams, and detailed FAQs. So what's in this guide? I'm going to be going over the AP exam e-ticket with you, the 5 steps to take before you take the AP exam on exam day, what you need to do on exam day, and how you will get your scores, your credit, and your college placement. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the AP exam e-ticket. 2 days before your test day, you will receive an email with your e-ticket. You will get a unique ticket for each exam that you're registered for. You can also access your e-ticket in your student account on My AP. Each e-ticket is personalized for you and isn't transferable. Don't share it. You cannot take any additional exams this year if you have not already registered for them. Make sure that you save your May e-ticket email just in case you need to take a makeup exam, and we'll go through when you would have to do that. Okay, so these are the exam dates you need to worry about. May 13th for AP Physics 2 at 12 p.m. On May 14th, which is the Thursday at 4 p.m., is AP Physics 1. If you cannot take the test on one of these dates, do not use your e-ticket. You will automatically receive a different e-ticket for a makeup test in June, but you're going to need to keep the e-ticket. Don't throw it away. Okay, so unless there's a significant conflict, you're expected to take the test in May, and they go through some reasons why you would need to take it in June, and I'll go over those backup dates as well. So here are the backup dates. If you have a conflict in May and you don't use your May e-ticket, you'll automatically receive a June e-ticket. You'll also be able to request an e-ticket in June for makeup dates if you have a disruption during your May exam. You'll also receive your makeup e-ticket 2 days before the new exam. There are more exam conflicts in June, and no additional scheduled makeup tests are scheduled after June 5th. So that means if you don't take it in May and you don't take it in June, you're going to have to pay $40 for the ticket. I mean $40 for the test. If you don't want to take the test, you already need it to contact Mrs. Dunn about that. So the makeup test for Physics 1 will be on June 2nd at 2 p.m. And for Physics 2, it will be the same day, June 2nd at 4 p.m. If you miss the chemistry and the AP Physics 2, you cannot make up both at the same time. So keep that in mind, that these are scheduled the way they are for a reason, and that if you miss both of the ones on the makeup that are scheduled on the same makeup day at the same time, you won't be able to take both. Each student's exam will be taking at the same time worldwide. So they're not going to have a problem with people in Los Angeles taking it and then, or people on the East Coast taking it and then people on the West Coast having access to the information when they go to take it. So the way it's going to work is this. If you live in Los Angeles, you're going to take it at 11 a.m. If you are in New York, you're going to take it 2 p.m. If you live in Madrid, you're going to take it at 8 p.m. So your AP exam starts at the same time no matter where you are. So what can you expect this year? It won't be any more difficult to earn a 3, 4, or 5, even though there are fewer questions. They're still going to score it the same exact way. Just remember, AP exams are never graded on a curve, and this year's exams are no different. That means that whatever they have preset as a 3, a 4, or a 5 is what you will have to receive in order to get the 3, 4, or 5. Keep in mind, though, that typically students that perform at a 3 level in other courses end up getting a 2 on the AP exam. We're just slightly lower in scores. So you may be getting straight 5s on all your AP exams and end up with a 4 on this one. For some reason, physics is just harder to get that higher score. Don't worry if you don't complete all the parts of the question. You can still get a 5 even if you don't complete it. I would say to try your best to get as much of it done as possible. If you do not receive, now this is interesting, this is something new. If you do not receive a 3 or higher because of this shorter exam format, I will be able to request a review and a confirmation of your score to make sure that it's fair and appropriate. So if you end up with a 2, I can go in and say, no, I know from the coursework that this student is capable of a 4 or a 5, and I need to know why they did not get that score. Okay, so I am able to actually make a request this year, which they have not had in the past. The exam questions are viewed by the students in a web browser. They recommend that you use Chrome. If you do not have Chrome, I recommend that you download it because they are making it very clear that they want Chrome, Chrome, Chrome. They're listing Firefox and Safari and Microsoft Edge, but they're not guaranteeing that things are going to work on those browsers. The demo will tell you that. So if it works on the demo, it should work exam day. But they're highly recommending Chrome. There's 3 ways you can submit your answers. You can copy and paste from a document that you've typed in. You can attach a typed response, or you can attach 1 or more photos, up to 5, of a handwritten response. So let's go over how to copy and paste. Best thing you're going to do, the best device to use for copy and pasting is a laptop or a desktop computer. You're going to type your responses in Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or a similar application. No images. You won't be typing, or you won't be drawing any images in those documents. You're going to save your work often to make sure you don't lose it. Each document and answer has to have your AP ID and your initials at the top of the response. So please make sure that you have that typed in before you start typing your answer. When the timer hits 5 minutes, it will go red, and at that point you're going to copy and paste your response into the space indicated, and then you're going to click submit. For the exam day setup, you want to have your windows, 2 windows side by side. Your first window will have your browser, so that would be Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and that will have your exam questions, which will appear after you click on your e-ticket. Okay, it will also have a display that tells you the time, and it will also have a place for you to paste and submit your typed response. The second window that you want to have is where you're going to be typing. So that will be your Google Doc, it will be your Word, Microsoft Word, Notes, or whatever word processing software you're using. If you're going to attach a document and then hit submit, the best device to use for that also is a laptop or a desktop. You're going to type your responses into Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or any other type of software or app application. You're going to save your document in one of these forms, either Doc, DocX, PDF, TXT, or an ODT. You're going to make sure that you type your AP ID and the initials at the top of your response. You're also going to make sure that you number all of your parts, and we'll go through that in a little bit. When the timer goes red at 5 minutes, you're going to take your responses and you're going to attach them, and then you're going to submit them. You cannot submit before the 5 minutes. Your exam will have 2 questions, so you need to create 2 separate documents, one for each question. I recommend that you do that ahead of time, and they do too, and we'll go through that again in a little bit. Again, you want to have 2 windows set up. You want to have your browser, which will have your e-ticket information, the question, the timer, and where to attach and submit. And the second window you want up is the one that has your word processing software, as you can see here. The third option is for you to take photos of your handwritten responses and then click submit. The way you want to do this is if you're using a smartphone or a tablet to take the AP exam. You're going to write your AP ID and initials at the top of your page for each page. You can only submit 5 pages. So if you end up with 6, I'm sorry, you can only submit 5. You want to write your response clearly in either black or blue ink or a dark lead pencil. They do not want you using red or purple or green ink. It must be all black or all blue. When the timer hits 5 minutes, it will go red. You're going to take a picture of your responses in the vertical orientation, which you can see right here. Okay. You want to make sure that it's vertical, not landscape or horizontal. 1 page per photo. If your response is longer than 1 page, you'll need multiple uploads. Again, 5 pictures at most, so 5 pages at most. Once you've uploaded everything, you then hit submit. Make sure that you've attached all of the pages before you hit the submit button. You're not going to submit each one separately. You're going to upload them all one at a time, and then you're going to hit submit. The file that you upload has to be a PNG, a JPEG, or a JPG. In order to set this up, you want to have your smartphone and your tablet ready. You want to display your test question. When you use your phone or a tablet, you're going to have to scroll up and down in order to keep reading it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take pictures of your written work. You don't really want to use your cell phone if you're going to be typing in your answers. So you need to make sure that you have a laptop or a desktop. Otherwise, you should have your paper ready to go. And again, I'll go through how to set all that up. Okay, if you get accommodations for a disability, all of those accommodations should have already been pre-approved. And you should have received an email a long time ago telling you that you have these accommodations. If you have accommodations where you've been approved for a reader or a scribe, you need to make sure that you have a family or household member available to assist you during the test. If you have a temporary medical condition or physical condition, such as an injured hand, you can request temporary assistance, and please go to this website down at the bottom in order to do that. Okay? If you need to request a makeup exam, I'm going to go through how you do that. If you have any issues on the exam day that prevent you from testing successfully, you'll be directed to an online AP makeup testing request form, okay, where you can describe what happened and request an e-ticket for the June makeup exam. You can also access this form at this website. Okay, you must have your original e-ticket when filling out this form. The form has to be submitted within 48 hours of your original test day. They will review your form and send you an email either approving or denying the request on the week of May 25th. If you're approved, you'll get a makeup e-ticket 2 days before the makeup test. Do not call AP services. There's nobody there to answer the phones. Rest assured that you will receive approval for any of the following types of issues. So for instance, sickness, significant interruption from family members, battery failures, power outages, technical disruptions. Simply running out of time, though, is not going to be good enough to get you a makeup test. Okay, the exam screen will guide you step by step on test day from the moment you click your e-ticket. Most students will be able to navigate that test using just the information I've given you so far. There may be unexpected events, though, because you are taking this at home, and so there's more information I want to give you in order to help you prep for that AP exam. So please make sure that you continue watching. Don't just say, oh yeah, I'm good, because there's a lot of really good information I have to give you. Okay, so here are the 5 things you need to do, 5 steps you need to do before you take your exam. The first thing you need to do is you need to review your contact information. Some of you do not have a valid email in the AP classroom. So please make sure that if you're not getting emails from AP, that you log into My AP to check your email address and to fix it. Okay, you'll be able to go into your profile and fix that, and I'll go through that in a little bit. Next, you want to check and prepare your technology before you start. So this has to be done probably now before Monday. Make sure that you're going to have a device, and make sure you've decided on what you're going to do for your documents. Number 3, on May 4th, which is Monday, the online AP exam demo is going to become available. You want to make sure that you go through that demo and that everything works on your computer, your laptop, your phone, your iPad, or your tablet. Okay? Next, you want to gather up all of the things that you need for your exam. You need to print them out, you need to gather all your additional materials, and you need to be ready to go. And I'm going to go through that as well, because each AP exam has different pieces of paperwork that you have to have completed. Next, you need to make sure that you get your exam confirmation and your e-ticket. You'll get emails with your AP ID and your exam e-ticket. If you don't get that email, then you can still access your email, that information through My AP. So you'll go into the AP classroom and get that information through My AP. Okay, so this is what you need to do if you haven't been getting emails all along. You need to sign into My AP, which is myap.collegeboard.org. You need to confirm your email address. So click on the profile at the top right corner, go into the account settings, and confirm that your e-ticket address, or your email address, sorry, is the one that you're going to use for your e-ticket. If it doesn't work, please, please, please put one that does. I know some of them don't work because I've checked them all. So some of you, the email address bounced back, so please make sure you update it. In subscriptions, you want to confirm that you've checked the box to receive updates, because that's how they're going to send you the information. Then you're going to create a new contact with the email address in your address book so that it doesn't get sent to your spam. Again, if you can't do this, don't worry, you can still get your e-ticket information in your My AP account. But it's kind of important for you to get these emails to tell you when things are going to become available. Okay, next thing you want to do is check your device. You want to check that you have the appropriate device for your exam and how you're planning to create your responses. It turns out that you will not need to use a lockdown browser, but in your browser you cannot have the Grammarly plug-in, so make sure that you turn it off. This year's questions will not require you to submit graphs or diagrams, so there will not be any field diagrams or drawing the electric or magnetic fields for AP2. There won't be any free body diagrams or graphs from data that they give you. okay? If you feel more comfortable handwriting your responses for this class, you can. But if you want to type your responses, you can as well. There are symbols and formulas that you can use. If you don't know how to use those, please make sure that you go to this website right here, cb.org AP Exam Day Docs. Okay, and that will show you how to do that. If you're using a smartphone, you're going to have to scroll back and forth to see the question and also the timer. This can be frustrating, so if possible, you should use a desktop or a laptop if that's going to bother you. One of the things you want to do is you want to prepare your documents for typing. So if you're going to be typing your information in, your responses in, you want to make sure that you set up your documents in advance so that they're ready to go. They recommend that you make a folder, put your documents in the folder, and put that folder on your desktop. You can do that, or you can just put the documents themselves on the desktop. What you want to do is this. You want to decide on what you're going to use first. So let's just say you decide you're going to use Google Docs. If you are going to upload the document, you need to download Google Docs to your computer first and then upload it to the software. You can do that. There's no problem with doing that. Just understand that it has to be in a docx, PDF, or TXT format when you do that for Google Docs. Okay? Next, make sure that in all your documents, your APID and your initials are at the top of each page. If you know how to set up a heading, you might want to put them in the heading. There's only one question for AP English and AP History, but for all of my the science exams, there are 2 questions, and that means you need 2 separate documents. So you want to have AP Physics question 1, AP Physics question 2. So you want to save 2 separate documents. If you're using Google Docs, you want to create them in Google Docs, and you can copy and paste into the software that way. But you still need to have your APID and your initials at the top of each page, or at the top of your answers. So make sure that they're available. If you're handwriting, you need to use white line paper. I know some of you are using the engineering paper. You can't do it. It has to be white, lined or unlined. It has to be 8.5 by 11 or close to it. Again, you need to use a number 2 pencil or a pen with black or blue ink. You can only upload 5 images, so you're limited to 5 pages per question. So you want to label your papers 1 through 5 for question 1 and 1 through 5 for question 2. And you want to make sure that your APID and your initials and a page number are at the top of each page right here. Okay, you want to do this, you want to set all this up prior to you taking that AP exam. The practice demo will be available on May 4th. If you cannot connect to the demo from the device that you're planning to use, you will not be able to use that device on the real test on test day. You need to either update your browser or you need to try again. If you still can't get your browser to work with the demo, you need to talk with Miss Dunn. So you can contact me and then I can forward that information to Mrs. Dunn, or you can just email Mrs. Dunn. So this is what you need on exam day. If you don't have a printer, ask the school to print out the copies. I'm not sure that that's going to be available to you, but you can always email Miss Dunn and ask. I know the building is only available on Tuesdays and Thursdays by appointments only. I know that they are still giving out the devices, digital devices like the Chromebooks, so you may be able to do it that way. This is what you have to have. You have to have your exam e-ticket email. You need to have your checklist completed with your AP ID. You need to have your device available. You need to have the recommended browser. You need to have an internet or cellular connection, and any assistive technology and devices that have been approved for your testing accommodations. The software you need to use is either Word, Google Docs, Notes, or some other application that you can enter and save text into. Now, this is new, and I would take advantage of it. You are allowed to use your class notes or your study guides. You're allowed to use your textbook and other classroom resources. You're allowed to use any of the assignments or assessments that you have available to you. So that big, huge binder that has all of those AP exam questions and the solutions is allowed to be used. All of those packets that I handed out to you before you left, they're all allowed to be used. If you've been doing them and you want me to go over the answers, you need to take a picture of them so that I know. Or you need to email me or text me and say, hey, Dr. H, could you make a video for this? And I'll do it. Okay, now this is the information you also need to have. You are allowed to use the AP Physics 1 or AP Physics 2 table of information and formulas. You're also allowed to use a calculator. So make sure that you have that stuff available to you. You do not want to use an online calculator if you can help it. It just, going back and forth through different pieces of software may be confusing. You're going to be all hyped up about taking an exam like this, maybe a little nervous. So you want to make sure that everything's working, that you have batteries for your calculator before you start. You also want to make sure that you print out your formula sheet. This may be different than the one I gave you. I don't know. But you're allowed to use an AP table of information and formula sheet. Okay. You are allowed to use class resources and class notes. You just can't use your class teacher. Sorry. The following resources can be used: class notes or study guides, and I put a website up on Edmodo for all of you to take a look at. It's a free prep class for all subjects. Textbook and other classroom resources, assignments, assessments, calculators. You cannot share study notes with one another during the exam. The study notes must be downloaded to each student's device. So anything that I've given you through Edmodo, you should download to your iPad, your laptop, your phone. Internet searching is not a good way to go about this. It takes a lot of time, and that means that you have less time to actually do the exam. Also, internet-based facts, research, and opinions aren't relevant to the AP exam, and they won't raise your scores. Copying from websites, social media, or online forums is considered plagiarism and will be detected and scores canceled. The software that they use is pretty impressive nowadays. I have been using their plagiarism software, and I can tell you that they will find a match if it's out there in the internet. Here, best practices, you can go to this website and take a look at that. Okay, on Monday, you'll receive an email confirmation with your AP ID and a list of the exams that you're registered for. You can check which exams you're registered for in My AP. If you're not listed as registered for an AP exam, you weren't part of the registration process at the beginning of the year. It's too late. 2 days before each exam, you will receive your email with your e-ticket. Oh, here. Remember, you will need to click your e-ticket containing your AP ID to access your exam. Okay, so there's a checklist that you have to complete. Here's the checklist, cb.org/AP checklist. I'm going to make it available through Edmodo, so you don't have to worry about it. You're going to print or hand copy the AP exam day checklist for each exam that you take. The most important thing to fill in is your 8-character APID code, which is located on your e-ticket. You'll need this code to check into your exam 30 minutes before your local start time. So now let's look at exam day. You are taking the 2-question exam from me. 30 minutes before your start time, right here, is when you're going to check in. You're going to use your e-ticket to check into the exam. You're going to complete the identity information, and then you're going to wait for the exam to begin automatically. 25, once it starts, you have 25 minutes to read the question and develop a response. 5 minutes to submit your response. After the 30 minutes, the next question comes up. You have 15 minutes to complete question 2. You have 5 minutes to submit it. You cannot go back and forth. Okay, so if you think of something after you've submitted question 1, you can't go back after it's been submitted. So keep that in mind. You have 25 minutes for question 1, 15 minutes for question 2, and that's it. And they give you 5 minutes to submit your response. You want to do your best to test in an environment that's quiet. You want to remove any distractions. You want to enable the do not disturb or quiet setting on your device. Let your parents, guardians, siblings know that you are going to be testing and you're not to be disturbed. You want to make sure that you have your device plugged in and that the battery is fully charged. You also want to make sure that you have bandwidth. So please make sure you check with your family and siblings and guardians and make sure that they are not streaming Netflix or Fortnite over your wireless or your internet. You want to have your checklist and any required documents next to you. So that would be all of the lecture notes or information that you're going to use. And you want to have your checklist, you want to have your formula sheet and your calculator available to you. You may not incorporate work which is not your own, and you may not provide or receive aid of any kind from anyone. To identify students attempting to receive help through the web, a phone, or social media, sophisticated detection technologies and processes will be applied. Most techniques will remain confidential to maximize their effectiveness. We will be monitoring social media and discussion sites to detect and disrupt cheating. We may post content designed to confuse and deter those who attempt to cheat. Attempts to cheat will be deleted immediately during testing or will be identified in June and July simultaneously with exam scoring. They will also be using plagiarism detection software, and exams will be shared directly with me. So I will be seeing all of your exams. Students found violating exam security will face severe consequences, which can include having your name reported to all the admission offices that you were caught cheating, and your scores will be canceled. More about exam security can be found at this link. You can report cheating here. Okay, so check into your exam. 30 minutes before the start time of your exam is when you start checking in. You'll need to spend a few minutes passing through various security filters to confirm your identity. A timer will show how much time remains until the start of the exam. So this right-hand side of the screen is what it will look like. Once your exam starts, the first exam question will automatically appear. You should not have to do anything. Do not refresh your browser. For most exams, the questions will be divided into parts. You're going to label them in alphabetical order, as you can see here. Use those letters to organize your responses and make sure you're not accidentally skipping any parts. You can use spell check and grammar check, but you cannot use Grammarly. You may print the test questions and annotate them if you like, but you cannot use annotation software online to do it. Exams with more than one question, you cannot move back and forth. So once the first question has been submitted, you go to the second question. You cannot go back to the first, and you cannot go back and forth. During the exam, you will see a timer at the bottom of the screen showing you how much time remains to create and submit your response. This timer remains visible, or you want to keep this visible on your screen. 5 minutes before the time is up, this timer turns red. You're going to stop where you are, you're going to copy and paste or attach your work, and then you're going to click submit. You can still earn a 5 even if you don't finish a response. If you don't submit your response on time, you won't get credit for it though, so make sure you submit. Losing track of time and not submitting a response is not a reason for a makeup exam. Just keep that in mind. The standards for scoring will be the same. It's not going to be any more difficult or less difficult to get a 3, 4, or 5 than prior years. Again, there's 3 ways to submit your response. You can attach a file, you can attach photos, or you can paste your work. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is attach or paste your response and then click submit. If you don't click submit before the timer runs out, your response will not count. Once you click submit, your response may continue to transfer depending on your bandwidth. This is okay. You will be able to move on to the next question even while your first question continues to transfer, so long as you click submit before the time ran out. If your response continues to transfer after the exam ends, wait until you see an online confirmation message. Do not shut down your browser until you see that. Okay? If you never see the message, your AP exam is complete, you need to apply for a makeup exam. Okay, see this? You have to see this message. If you don't, you need to do a makeup exam. So what can go wrong? If you accidentally close the browser, your device crashes, or you temporarily lose internet access, you can quickly get back in by re-clicking on your e-ticket. Okay? You continue the exam, and if you feel at the end of the exam that this temporary disruption negatively impacted your performance, you can again request a makeup exam. During the exam, do not refresh your browser or hit the back arrow. Again, don't call customer service, there's nobody there. So, what do we do about the scores? Because the AP readers are scoring this digitally or remotely, this means that your scores will not be available until about July 15th. If you want your scores sent to a college or university, you need to let AP know before June 20th. So you can go to My AP and put in there where you want your scores to go. After June 20th, there will be a $15 fee for your scores, $25 if you need a rush. So if you wait until after July 15th to see what your score is before you send it off, you're going to have to pay the $15 fee or the $25 fee. Or if you're a junior sending them and you don't know where you're sending them to, that could be an issue. Okay, just so you know, everybody, as you can see, is accepting the scores this year. Okay, so during this challenging time, the AP program wants every interested AP student to have the opportunity to earn the college credit they've been working toward all year. So please stay safe and healthy. That's from the College Board. Now, what happens if you can't get the exam demo to work? What you're going to do is you're going to open up the latest version of Chrome. If you don't have the latest version of Chrome, you're going to get it for free, and you can go and do a Google search and get latest Chrome browser. Make Chrome your default browser, and how do you check that? You send an email of a link, a website, okay? Then you click on that and you see what type of browser opens it, okay? If it's Internet Explorer, you need to change the default browser. So how do you do that? You type into Google search, set default browser for your device. Okay? You need to disable any browser plugins or extensions such as Grammarly. And you can keep plugins in such as Chromevox. If you don't know how to do that, you can go ahead and type in a Google search how to disable browser extensions. Okay, your exam questions are going to be displayed in a browser. Using a supported browser ensures that you'll be able to be successful. And there you go. If you have any questions at all about this, please make sure you message me through Edmodo, text me through the group text. If you're not in the group text, text me with your parents' text number as well, and let me know who you are so I can include you in the group text. You can also post questions through Synergy, through Student View, and also through Edmodo as well. If I wish you all the best. Hopefully we get through this really well. I know that all of you have been working very hard, and it's been very difficult for all of us, especially now being at home without being able to work, together on lab work and such. But I know that all of you are going to do very well.